Welcome with Jesus Bible Study. We're going to be in the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to be used of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And I'm going to repeat that. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And when you are tempted to say something unwholesome, unkind, go ahead and just stop. When you know it's going to be hurtful, when you know it's going to be mean, when you know that it's either going to upset, and you know when you're going to say it angrily, just go ahead and stop. If you have to say things only when you're angry, then you might as well not say them at all. That's why sometimes it's best to just during certain situations, just to keep your mouth closed. Walk away from it. Let the situation die down a little bit, and then come back and speak. Because 9 times out of 10, the things we wanted to say right there and pop right back off, when we just walk away and come back a little bit later, we don't exactly use those exact same words. We don't say it that kind of way immediately. You don't have to be so quick-witted and be so snappy. A lot of people like to sit there when they're arguing or when they're talking to people, like there's going to be a peanut gallery over there, breaking up points on how good was the comeback. A lot of times people treat conversations like your mama jokes. That everybody around them's going to be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. If you got a problem after you've had a conversation with somebody, and then later on that night, you think of, well, I wish I would have said this. Man, that would have been a lot better if I would have said this. Then something's wrong with you. That means the only thing you care about was just trying to hurt somebody's feelings. That it is no longer really about the point then. Now it's just trying to see who was funnier, who was more ruder, and who can hurt the other person's feelings. It's no longer about the point. If you can't say nothing nice, then you should not say nothing at all. We've got to learn to be a little bit more wiser. Sometimes being wise is not saying anything at all. Just because you're correct doesn't mean that you have to sit there and explain yourself to the person that you are correct. Because the truth will speak for itself. You don't have to prove your point to other people. Why do you have to always have to be right and correct? If you know for a fact that you are right, if you know for a fact that you're correct, you don't have to say nothing at all. But too many times people, in their defense, just get so mad and got to prove everybody they're right. And then sometimes a lot of people say, oh, people who are all on the mad defense, usually ain't wrong, and that's why they got to sit there and keep on about it. You got to make sure they understand, but there's some people that are just so mad and so frustrated and so hurt that they just got to prove themselves. So they just got to keep running that mouth. And they are right. But that doesn't mean you got to keep running your mouth. It takes patience. It takes a lot to be a bigger, better person. So what if the truth don't come out till a year later, 2 years later, 6 months later, 3 months later? It don't matter. They don't need to know. That's between you and God. So who cares what they think? Who cares what these people think? And that's the problem with the world today. Everybody cares too much about what this person thinks of them. But they don't care enough about what God thinks about them. They don't care enough about their relationship with God and how they act with God. And is God happy about them? Is God pleased with the way they're acting? Is God pleased with the life that they're living? But they're worried about what the other people seem to think. Or they're worried about what the other people care about. You let those people tell them like, ooh, when you gonna get a new car? You still got that old phone? Why don't you get a new phone? Girl, are you sure you're gonna wear that? Why are we caring too much about what these people who could care less about you? They could literally care less about you. They're not gonna be there when you're down and out. A lot of those people try to fit in with this one crowd and this particular crowd over here and this over here, and they could care less about you. That the one people that do care about you, you would diss them and do any and everything to please those one people who just leave you high and dry. That's what's wrong with the world. We care too much about the wrong people who cares about what they care about us. That we let them dictate us. They let us define who they seem to think that we should be. The only thing you should care about is what He thinks of you. What does God care you to be? Who do you care? And yourself. A lot of people sit there and forget about themselves. Are you proud of who you are? You could be proud of who you are and just fine and happy and like the way you are. Then somebody comes around and because of their so-called thoughts, their so-called opinions, you end up hating yourself. You end up disliking yourself. Now you have all these emotions, all this depression for no reason, for somebody who doesn't even matter. When you was just perfectly fine. Too many people let the opinions of other people affect them and affect their lifestyle. That affects them mentally. That they physically become sick, physically become ill. The stress physically changes their lifestyle. So they start treating themselves completely different. They start treating the people around them completely different. All because of somebody else's opinion. Be more focused on God's opinion. What does He think about you? What does He say about you? What does He want you to do? How does He look at you? Does He love you? Of course He loves you. Do those people love you? Probably not. They obviously didn't give their son up in sacrifice for you. They obviously have not suffered for you. God loves you like nobody else can. There's nobody on this earth that can love you as much as God. Not even your mother. Not even your own kid. There's a lot of people that seem to think that their parents or their children or their family members would do anything for them. Oh, we're real tight. We're real close, man. I know they would die for me. I know that. But when it come down to it and the building was on fire, they'll rush right by them and throw them right down the steps and wouldn't even go back to go get them. Or if it had to do with money, would you slap your mama for so much money for like this? Would you do this? Would you shoot your parent for this to get this amount of money? And you learn real quick that they really didn't care, but they'd rather have this money. They'd rather have that than you. But God, on the other hand, His love is never ending. He will always, always truly love you. And there is no love greater than God's love.